Hi guys, my name is Noni Matigela. Welcome to the Noni M podcast. I just watched the latest episode of Unjabs and Lucy's Pet. Guys, remember that I said on our last one, me and Jabulo, he had promised that because there are these people that are calling him a theorist, a propaganda, don't, he is going to say things that he did not intend to say, but because they think that they can push him around, he's going to say things. Anyway, before we get into that situation, guys, engagement is key on social media. Kindly make sure that you engage. Okay? Kindly make sure you engage. Because when you do that, you are helping this channel to grow financially and in numbers. So that way, me, I'm growing, okay? As much as I'm growing in public speaking and stuff, I'm growing financially because of you. So can you guys please make sure that we grow? The channel also grows. We are currently on 13,000 subscribers. Can I get 2,000 subscribers this June? It's the first today. By the end of June, can I be on 15,000 subscribers, please? Can you do that for me? That's the goal for the month of June. Can we all get me to 15,000 subscribers, please? Anyway, now let's talk about what is happening. Guys, Unjabulo just told us, that the person that called Umjiako to come and attend in this dance situation, the person that informed Umjiako, he did not say allegedly. He did not say allegedly. He said it is Bongani Yende. It's always a Bongani. So Bongani Yende worked or is working at Crime Intelligence. I don't know whether he's currently working there or he used to work there, but he says at that time he was working at Crime Intelligence. Also, Bongani Yende was working closely with Brigadier Bongani Gininda, ubizo wakhe. And also, that case of Donovan Craig, they also worked there, Yende and Gininda. If I got that correct, that's the scat. That's the scat. Apparently, Umtoko Somchiako is in this because of Yende. Yende is the one, perhaps they sat there and were thinking, this is going to need a lawyer. Who is a lawyer that we can get? They were sitting there and then they were like, oopsie, Ntokozo Mchiako. Now, Ntokozo Mchiako is the man that had two cases, if my understanding is correct, there by Times Live. That article, the other person that wrote it is Mzilikazi wa Africa. You know, Mzilikazi is Ubra or on hip business of writing this thing, proper journalist. So in that article, Ntokozo Mchiako is said to be involved, that's a 2013 article, to be involved in a hijacking of a cigarette truck and also in an armed robbery case. So those two cases. But now what I don't understand or don't know or follow, even Jabulo says he's not sure how that case miraculously became smoke on air, is how did Ntokozo not get convicted for the case? What happened there? So nothing. So Njabulo thinks that because of those charges, Ntokozo is scared to go to jail and he gets used. He gets used. Ne? He gets used and then he got used, or else, let me put it right. He got used because people knew his business. There's a very high possibility when you look at it. Perhaps because these people are people of crime intelligence, they were like, Lo has a law degree, and Lo has these cases, and Lo perhaps they did a favor for him and were like, we're gonna let it go. You will help me with. So this was them collecting. Chances are, me, I'm alleging, I heard it from that side of Mastermind's channel with Njabulo and Pet. So when I'm using my brain because it sounds like Yende remembered there is Ntokozo Mchiako. If Yende was working for crime intelligence and Geninda was also somewhere there for crime intelligence at some point in his life, if that's the case or whatever, then they were like, we're gonna need a lawyer for this. That's where the name of Mchiako came in. Catching? That's where the name of Mchiako came in. And then now Unjabulo also speaks about Ndanzi's deal because Ndanzi, apparently he was also, sounds like Zungu is the one that gave up Ndanzi's name. And that's when Ndanzi was coached, told that you are going to talk about these three people and say that they did this case. When Danzig finally realized, even though there's a 3 million rand that is floating here, but jail time, jail time, I am willing for that. So when they got to the deal, perhaps they did read the deal with him. They did read that deal on the 19th. And then that's when he was bloody trapped. Bamtrapa kanobomu because he was refusing to cooperate as per agreement. Because ingqondo yakhe yavuka. But bazongishaya, bangishayela ukuthi. Sorry guys, I'm tired. It's 11 p.m. So uBongani Ntanzi, when he refused to be part of the circus leyo eyamlenda to ukuba abe, because apparently they wanted him to sign section 205. That's why Mchiako was needed. It was for the section 205. What is the section 205, guys? Sorry, section 105. Sorry. Section 105 of South Africa's Criminal Procedure Act, Act number 51 of 1977, outlines the process of putting the charge to the accused and their subsequent plea. It states that the prosecutor must present the charge to the accused before the trial begins, and the accused must then plead to that charge in accordance with Section 106. Here is more detailed breakdown. Putting the charge. The prosecution is responsible for formally presenting the charges against the accused to the court. The accused must then respond to the charges by entering a plea, either guilty or not, or other pleas as outlined in Section 106. Plea bargaining. Section 105A, which was inserted alongside Section 105, allows the plea and sentence agreements between the prosecutor and the accused, where the accused pleads guilty and a negotiated sentence is agreed upon. In essence, Section 105 sets the foundation for the formal process of the trial, ensuring that the accused understands the charges they face and can respond accordingly. My goodness. No wonder Ntanzi was like, uneasy. Okay, let's understand the plea and sentence agreements very fast. What is this? A plea and sentence agreement governed by Section 105A of Criminal Procedure Act allows the state and the accused person to negotiate a resolution to a criminal case without proceeding to a full trial. So Bongani Ntanzi was not going to go through a trial, but he was going to come as a 204 la ule case kaSenzo Meyiwa. This agreement involves the accused person represented by their attorney agreeing to plead guilty to the charges in exchange for a negotiated sentence. The agreement aims to expedite the legal process, reduce the court's burden, and reach a mutually acceptable outcome. Section A, this section outlines the terms of the agreement and establishes the prosecutor's authority to negotiate and finalize the agreement. Section B, this section presents the facts of the case, summarizing the evidence and circumstances surrounding the charges against the accused. Section C, this section details the personal circumstances of the accused, including background information and any mitigating factors. Section D, this section specifies the negotiated sentence agreed upon by the accused. Once the agreement is signed by all parties, it is submitted to a magistrate for approval. The magistrate is not obliged to accept the proposed sentence and can reject it if deemed inappropriate. If the magistrate disagrees with the terms, the prosecutor may seek approval from another magistrate. The negotiations leading up to the agreement are confidential, allowing for candid discussions between the state and the accused. The decision is to enter into a plea and sentence agreement is influenced by the accused person's awareness of the evidence and the state has and the potential consequences of going to trial. The accused, guided by their attorney, may choose this route to mitigate their sentence based on the state's disclosed evidence. Implications of Section 105A. The implications of a Section 105A agreement are significant. For the accused, it offers an opportunity to avoid the uncertainties and potential harsher penalties of a trial, resulting in a negotiated sentence that is often more lenient. For the criminal justice system, it helps alleviate the court's burden by reducing the number of cases presiding to full trial, promoting judicial efficiency. Section 204 of the Criminal Procedure Act allows the witness who may be implicated in a crime to testify against other accused person in exchange for indemnity from prosecution. This provision is critical for securing testimony that may be essential for the prosecution's case. In practice, a Section 204 witness is compelled to testify truthfully and fully. If the witness complies, they are granted indemnity and cannot be prosecuted based on their testimony. However, if they fail to testify honestly, they may face prosecution for perjury and related charges. Interaction between Sections 105A and 204. The relationship between the Sections 105A and 204 can be complex. Section 105A involves a plea and sentence agreement where the accused pleads guilty and is sentenced based on negotiated terms, typically avoiding a full trial. Section 204 involves providing testimony against the other accused persons in exchange for indemnity and providing evidence that incriminates the accused person. The witness testifies during the trial, but if they comply with conditions, they are not prosecuted based on their testimony. Thus, while Section 105A primarily deals with negotiating a guilty plea and sentence, Section 204 focuses on securing testimony from potentially implicated individuals without prosecuting them for crimes they testified about. Use of statements in Section 105A against other accused persons. When an accused person enters into a plea and sentence agreement under Section 105A and provides information that identifies other accused persons, the admissibility of that information against those other accused can be complex. Generally, statements made during plea negotiations are considered privileged and confidential to encourage frank discussions and facilitate settlements. This means that such statements may be inadmissible in court against other accused persons unless they independently corroborate the evidence. However, the state may use the information obtained during these negotiations to further investigate and gather admissible evidence against other accused persons. The key principle that while the direct statements made in the context of Section 105A negotiations may not be used as direct evidence, the information provided can lead to the discovery of new evidence that can be used in court. Conclusion. In summary, Section 105A facilitates negotiated plea agreements and enhancing judicial efficiency and offering leniency to the accused, while Section 204 allows for critical testimony in exchange for indemnity, aiding the prosecution of broader criminal activities. Statements made under Section 105A negotiations are generally inadmissible against other accused persons, but can guide further investigations. This is what Ogeninda wanted to put Undanzi through. Glory be to the Almighty God who knocked some sense in him. Whatever reason was there for him to get that sense back, glory be, because anything could have happened after this. Yay! Bottom line, he was still gonna be in prison for years and still not get the 3 million perhaps. So that's the lesson that we are getting from this. What are your thoughts, guys, when it comes to this? But the SCACA, besides learning about Section 105A and Section 204, the SCACA is that the person that got Ntokozo Mjeko into the entire mess, while his name and country, now he's a controversial person because he is always involved in some controversy when it comes to the Senzo Meyiwa case and some corruption and fraud situations that are floating over his head. So right now, what we can say is, it is what it is. He better come to court himself to vindicate his name. What are your thoughts when it comes to all of this? Let's talk in the comment section. Thank you so much. I'll see you on our next video. Bye-bye.